We start with our Newsmaker segment and focus on the civil rights movement in Kansas City during this week when we celebrate the anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. Joining me is the newly elected president of the local NAACP branch, the Reverend Rodney E. Williams, pastor of the Swope Parkway United Christian Church. Reverend Williams, nice to meet you. Thank you for coming in and welcome to Ruckus.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Let me ask you a quick question about Dr. King before we talk about some of the Kansas City issues that you're dealing with. If Dr. King were suddenly transported here today somehow, would he see a lot of progress or be troubled by the lack of progress?
I think Dr. King would see a lot of progress, but I think he would also have trouble in his spirit because we certainly are not where I believe he would think we need to be.
What would be lacking that Dr. King would think needed to be here?
Well, Dr. King had this vision concerning the beloved community, and that beloved community has not become a reality as of yet. We still have segregation in Kansas City and throughout America, and so I think that would be troubling for Dr. King.
Your group and others are opposed to the privatizing of sidewalks in Westport weekend nights for 5 hours, I think it is, 2 nights a week, Friday night into Saturday morning and Saturday night into Sunday morning. The reason they want to close the streets there or privatize them is to allow merchants to screen people who are entering the district, see if they're carrying guns. The Westport merchants say they'll have people standing by trained to observe the process and make sure no one is discriminated against or treated unfairly. What's the objection to that?
The objection is that we believe that privatizing of public streets is a bad idea, and we see that there will present an opportunity for civil rights violations. And so whenever there is the potentiality that civil rights might be violated, that is a concern for the NAACP.
Well, if there are people who are trained monitoring the process,
yes,
and everybody who walks in is treated the same way, why is there likelihood of discrimination?
Well, I think the goal would be to have everyone treated the same way, but people come to work and they bring their biases to work in spite of the training that they have, and so we believe that those biases can kick in, and once those biases kick in, we believe that discrimination and civil rights violation might happen.
But the rationale for the privatizing of streets is to stop the gun violence that has been rampant in Westport.
Yes.
There is no civil right greater than the right to life, is there? And the danger that weapons would pose, or apparently does pose in Westport, is that not an issue?
Certainly, safety is an issue all over the city, not just Westport. We believe that we should have a comprehensive plan by the police department to put forth to make sure that all of Kansas City is safe and not just Westport.
Well, the City Council has approved this plan. It's supposed to go into effect next spring.
Yes.
What can be done to stop it, if anything?
I'm not sure what can be done to stop it, but we need to make sure that we are voicing our opinion because we believe that this law is extreme, and extreme laws and extreme politics brings about tension in the communities, and we think that's going to happen.
Do you support the national organization's travel ban for African Americans to come to Missouri?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because individuals have to understand that coming to Missouri, just as the travel ban has stated, could be dangerous to your health. We advise people that if you are going to come, be aware that your civil rights might be discriminated.
Has this effort been successful? Has it stopped people from traveling to Missouri? And doesn't that ban hurt businesses in Missouri and hurt some of the people you're trying to serve?
I think the ban has been successful. I think it will hurt the economy. But sometimes we have to hurt the economy. Sometimes we have to do whatever needs to be done to make sure justice is coming across. And so what we're doing, we're not banning people or telling them you can't come.
No, you can't do that.
Right.
You don't have the authority to do that.
But what we are doing is saying, if you do come, understand that your civil rights might just be violated.
Do you think African Americans who live in Missouri should follow this ban and not travel within the state?
Well, if you live in the state, you have to travel, but I think you have to be very cautious.
Like if you have relatives in St. Louis and you live in Kansas City, should you not be traveling from one city to the other?
I think you should travel from one city to the other, but I think you need to be very careful in your travels.
All right, down to about 30, 40 seconds. So quickly, if you can, a couple of the top goals you have for your term as president in the next 2 or 3 years?
One of the things that I'm hoping to do is to help in some way to foster an attitude where Missouri, the state, where Kansas City will become more of a moral city where everybody's rights will be protected and respected.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for coming in. It's a pleasure to meet you, and good luck in your work as president of the NAACP.
Thank you for having me.
That's Kansas City NAACP President, Reverend Rodney E. Williams. Now let's meet the panel and start a ruckus.